Port Charles has always thrived on secrets, betrayals, and the kind of danger that lurks just beneath the surface of everyday life. But in the coming days, General Hospital is set to unleash a storyline so dark, so emotionally charged, and so explosively unpredictable that even longtime viewers may find themselves holding their breath. At the center of it all stands Sonny Corinthus, a man who has survived wars, rivals, and betrayals that would have destroyed anyone else. This time, however, the threat closing in on Sonny isn't just another mob hit or a familiar enemy resurfacing. It's something far more dangerous, a deadly trap born of obsession, revenge, and a loss of control that even the ruthless Sidwell never anticipated. As Sidwell's carefully constructed empire begins to crack, a new force emerges from the shadows. Marco, a man fueled not by strategy or power, but by raw, vengeful rage. And when Marco slips beyond Sidwell's grasp, Sonny becomes the ultimate target in a deadly game that threatens to engulf Port. Sonny Corinthus has always lived by one unshakable truth: power comes with consequences. Over the years, he's buried friends, lost family, and sacrificed pieces of his soul to protect what he believes is his. Yet despite the blood on his hands and the ghosts that haunt him, Sonny has managed to maintain a fragile balance, one built on loyalty, fear, and an unspoken code. Lately, however, Sonny's instincts have been screaming that something is wrong. It starts subtly. A shipment delayed without explanation. A trusted contact going silent. A message delivered through back channels that feels less like a warning and more like a taunt. Sonny senses a trap, but even he can't see its full shape yet. What he doesn't know is that the danger stalking him isn't operating by the usual mob rules. This enemy doesn't want territory. This enemy doesn't want money. This enemy wants blood. And Sonny's name sits at the top of the list. Sidwell has always prided himself on control. Every move calculated. Every pawn placed with precision. He's the kind of man who believes chaos is only useful when it's carefully managed. For years, that belief has kept him alive and powerful. But Marco was never meant to be more than a tool. Originally, Marco was Sidwell's enforcer, a weapon aimed where Sidwell pointed, unleashed when intimidation or violence was required. Marco followed orders with chilling efficiency, earning a reputation as someone you never wanted on your trail. Yet beneath that obedience simmered something far more volatile, a personal vendetta that Sidwell underestimated and ultimately ignored. Marco's hatred of Sonny Corinthus runs deeper than business. Sonny represents everything Marco believes was stolen from him: family, opportunity, and justice. While Sidwell saw Sonny as a rival to outmaneuver, Marco saw him as a symbol of everything wrong in his life. And now, that obsession is slipping free. Sidwell begins to notice the warning signs too late. Marco starts making moves without approval. Intelligence leaks where it shouldn't. Plans are altered, not for strategic gain, but for maximum pain. Sidwell tries to rein Marco back in, but the man he once controlled is no longer listening. For the first time in a long while, Sidwell is afraid, not of Sonny, but of the monster he helped create. Marco's transformation is terrifying in its simplicity. Gone is the disciplined enforcer who waited for orders. In his place stands a man consumed by revenge, convinced that Sonny's death will finally bring him peace. But vengeance doesn't bring peace. It brings escalation. Marco's plan isn't a quick hit or a clean kill. He wants Sonny to suffer. He wants to strip him of everything: his power, his family, his sense of control, before delivering the final blow. Sources close to the unfolding drama hint that Marco has been studying Sonny's routines for months. He knows when Sonny is most vulnerable. He knows which people Sonny would die to protect. And most disturbingly, Marco is willing to use those people as bait. Sidwell realizes, with growing horror, that Marco's actions are no longer about winning a war. They're about burning the battlefield to the ground, even if Sidwell himself gets caught. The trap designed for Sonny is as elaborate as it is cruel. At first, it looks like an opportunity, one Sonny can't afford to ignore. A tip comes in about a potential threat that could destabilize his operations permanently if left unchecked. It's the kind of lead Sonny would normally investigate personally, trusting his instincts and experience to guide him through the danger. But this time, those instincts are being manipulated. Marco has anticipated Sonny's response perfectly. Every step Sonny takes leads him deeper into a web of half-truths and staged threats. The environment is designed to disorient, isolate, and ultimately corner him. What Sonny doesn't realize is that Marco doesn't intend to walk away afterward. This isn't a warning. This isn't a negotiation. This is an execution. No one knows Sonny Corinthus better than Carly. She senses the change in him before anyone else does, The tension in his shoulders, the way his eyes constantly scan the room, the unspoken weight he carries home at night. Carly knows danger when she sees it, and she knows Sonny is walking straight into it. She tries to push back, urging Sonny to slow down, to trust his people instead of charging headfirst into yet another threat. But Sonny, haunted by years of consequences and convinced this danger must be confronted directly, won't listen. Their conversations grow more strained. Carly fears that Sonny's refusal to see the full scope of the threat may cost him everything this time, including his life. And Carly is not prepared to lose him again. Even in his absence, or rumored return, Jason Morgan's influence hangs heavy over Sonny's world. Sonny finds himself thinking the unthinkable. What would Jason do? Would Jason see the trap for what it is? Would Jason already be 3 steps ahead of Marco? Those thoughts only deepen Sonny's unease. Meanwhile, whispers ripple through Port Charles that Jason may be closer than anyone realizes. Whether or not he appears in time remains uncertain, but the possibility alone adds another layer of tension to an already volatile situation. If Jason does return, it may be the only thing capable of stopping what's coming. As Marco slips further out of control, Sidwell faces a brutal choice: protect his own interests or attempt to stop Marco before everything implodes. In a shocking twist, Sidwell considers the unthinkable, warning Sonny. It's not an act of goodwill. It's survival. Sidwell knows that if Marco succeeds, the fallout will be catastrophic. Law enforcement scrutiny, retaliations, and internal collapse would destroy everything Sidwell has built. Sonny's death wouldn't end the war. It would ignite one far bloodier. But reaching out to Sonny is a gamble. Sonny might see it as a trap of its own. Or worse, he might decide Sidwell is just as expendable as Marco. Sidwell hesitates, and that hesitation may cost him dearly. The climax of this storyline promises to be nothing short of explosive. Sonny walks into the trap fully aware that something is wrong, but determined to face it anyway. The tension is suffocating as the walls close in, the exits disappear, and Marco finally steps out of the shadows. This isn't a negotiation. This isn't business. This is personal. Marco unleashes years of rage in a confrontation that forces Sonny to confront not just his enemy, but his own past choices. Every deal gone wrong. Every life lost. Every enemy created along the way comes crashing down in a single, terrifying moment. Gunshots echo. Loyalties are tested. And lives hang in the balance. Whether Sonny survives the trap, or barely escapes it, the aftermath will ripple through Port Charles in ways no one can ignore. Trust will be shattered. Alliances will shift. And the line between protector and destroyer will blur even further. Sidwell's loss of control may mark the beginning of his end. Marco's fate, whether death, capture, or something even worse, will leave scars that don't fade easily. And Sonny, if he lives, may emerge more hardened than ever, or finally begin questioning whether the cost of survival has become too high. One thing is certain. General Hospital is gearing up for a storyline that redefines danger, loyalty, and revenge. As Sonny faces his deadliest trap yet and Sidwell watches his empire unravel, Port Charles braces for a reckoning that will leave no one untouched. Stay tuned, because when vengeance takes the wheel, even kings can fall.